we're obviously considering the alternatives. Will there be a replacement? But I think the biggest part of all of that is actually how does it perform right now with current games?
Yeah.
Because obviously all these pieces of hardware will be fine with your back catalogue of older games, whatever.
Yes.
But games that are launching right now, how does the Ally X hold up against them?
Yeah.
Is it struggling? Is it doing well? I mean, you're the best person I can think of to answer that question.
I've not had... There's one exception, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I've not had a single issue with any of my games. And I'm talking just playing handheld on the thing itself.
Yeah.
Ignore my eGPU rambles.
Good.
Because, that's different. I'm adding more power.
Yeah.
But yeah, just on the device itself, playing from the battery, in the various performance modes that it has, providing that you've got it on the highest performance output, 25 watt, then it will tackle anything that you throw at it.
Yeah.
Because any game that's, let's say, from 2018 and older, it's just going to raw power its way through it, and you're going to be fine. You can load up The Witcher 3 and just have a great time or whatever. From 2018 onwards, or maybe even newer than that, 2020 onwards, whatever, I'd say 2018 onwards, that's where all the more demanding titles are starting to show.
Yeah.
But it's also where we've seen upscaling techniques come into play.
Especially the past 2 years, it's
Definitely
really
the past
started
few years,
accelerating.
Yeah, for sure. So whilst there is on board accessibility options there, for these upscalers and stuff, let's discount those.
Yeah.
Let's just not talk about those. Those are there, which can help, but they're driver level upscalers or frame gens. Let's just ignore that. They are there. So that's already given you some options, but let's just talk about the game and whether or not the game, the Ally, can handle it. Most games over the past 5 years, let's say, have got upscaling techniques built in them to make sure that people can enjoy them on a wider range of systems.
Yeah.
Especially PCs, which are such a Frankenstein mix of so many different parts. We've seen DLSS rise to fame.
Yeah.
You've got AMD FSR, specifically FSR 3, which is the upscaling side of it.
Yeah.
And then you've seen the introduction of FrameGen, which came with FSR 3. So those are there. I've not had a single game not be able to run at considerable performance. I mean, even Spider-Man, a Sony game, running at 1080p at 60 FPS without FrameGen.
And that, Miles Morales in particular looked unreal.
Amazing.
Unreal.
I played the whole game. The entire game through.
Before we get onto the game that we have come across that is a problem that's worth considering as part of this conversation, I'll say my experience is is the same but the opposite of yours. So I do no tweaking at all.
Yes.
I spend no time setting anything up. I literally download the game from Game Pass and play it.
Yeah.
Which I would imagine is kind of typical of a lot of the console players that have moved over. They're just oh, there you go, play it, let's go.
Yeah.
And all of the games I play from Game Pass all work flawlessly. And I'm only picking the latest releases to play.
Yeah, the newest stuff that comes to Game Pass. Yeah.
Just because I want to see what it looks like on there. Let's have a go on it.
Yeah.
Or I want to play on the move or whatever, I've not come across problems. There was one of the Forza games is just broken
on PC
in general.
Yeah.
Which I thought was an Ally X problem to start with. I thought this is going to be a handheld problem. There's something. It was not loading the shaders or something because it hung on that for ages. No, it was just a broken game.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the experience has been totally flawless.
Yes.
Console-like experience.
Yes. Even with the most modern Call of Duty, Black Ops 6.
Games that are releasing right now.
Yeah. You can run that with no frame generation.
I hadn't played
really high.
Indiana Jones, actually. I'd quite like to try that.
Yes. I haven't.
Because that's a really beautiful looking game.
I've played a lot of Indiana Jones, but whilst I was playing it on my Ally X, I was playing it in my eGPU docked onto my TV. Yeah. So did I try it handheld? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I just loaded it straight up onto the TV and I played it that way. So I can't, attest to that.
But obviously, you've seen on the channel, you have been living Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for me.
Yes, I've been loving it.
And that's the first one we've come across that's actually there's an issue
Yeah, well, a potential issue.
Yeah.
Because it really depends. Because the Ally X, whilst it's got VRR, it does have support for LFC, low frame rate compensation. So when it drops below the VRR window, which I believe is 45 FPS and above is the VRR window, LFC kicks in.
Yeah.
So it's still basically VRR. Let's just say that. So still looks good, sub 45. So smooth, it's got that VRR effect. So with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, there's no upscaling in the game.
Yeah.
For AMD. There is if you've got an NVIDIA GPU on a PC, but unless you're NVIDIA, you ain't got a way of doing it.
A weird absence of support for AMD in that.
So that is on Square Enix.
Yeah.
That's their problem. It's not an Ally X problem because pretty much every game in the past 5 years, like I said, has got
I would hazard a guess that something will happen to update that.
Yes,
in the near future.
I'd imagine to see an update that brings in FSR 3 or something like that. And as soon as that happens, then you're golden. But currently, there is no upscaling in terms of FSR in the game. So you're just using dynamic resolution to adjust the resolution on the fly to maintain a stable frame rate. You can absolutely lock the game at 30 FPS. And you can play the game. There's no problem. You won't dip below 30 at all, providing you've got the right settings. Check out our guide.
Get on the channel.
Yeah. So, you can play the game at 30, but a lot of people are like, I want 60 FPS, So again, checking out our guide, you can get that above 30, but really you're looking at fluctuations between like 35 to 45 FPS.
Yeah.
And that's what we're calling struggling.
And that's a really good point. Struggling. If you're not a pixel peeper, as in you're not like really focusing on having the overlay graph on all the time and watching your frames, I would imagine you'd play that game and have the best time and not notice.
Absolutely. And like I said, you've got
probably better than the PlayStation.
Probably. And again, you could absolutely lock it at 30, stick AFMF2 or lossless scaling on there, get it up to 60, and away you go as long as you like artifacting.
Yeah, and artifacting galore.
Yeah.
Awful.
We're not big fans of frame gen.
No. I think we could do a whole video on why we don't like frame gen.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. So the kind of long and short of it is every game currently works fine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No problems.
Yeah.
And everything else on the market doesn't quite offer a compelling enough alternative yet.
There's nothing yet that's like dominating it. There's nothing that leaps and bounds. The only thing that will be like a bit of a better thing all round will be the Lenovo Legion Go 2, which we won't see this year. I really don't think we'll see it this year.
And that is the end of that, unless you want to see more, and then it's only just the beginning of your journey.
I like that.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, I just came up with it just now. Yes, that was the end of that clip of the podcast. If you want to see what we're talking about actually in a full podcast fashion, then click on the link there and watch it. And maybe subscribe as you leave, or like before you leave.
Like before you leave.
Nice catchphrase, that.
Oh.